Hi, it's Mayor Walter Sendzik, and welcome back to Our Home with Mayor Sendzik. And this is the final show of the season. So after 3 seasons, there has been a lot of opportunity, and I want to thank you for tuning in and learning more about our city. We've had a lot of different guests come on to Our Home with Mayor Sendzik. I want to thank the guests who have taken the time to come on and talk about what they're doing here in St. Catharines. And really, when you look back over 3 seasons, you see how much is going on in St. Catharines. We're a growing community. There's a lot of excitement happening, whether it's in our downtown or in Port Dalhousie, along the Welland Canal Parkway. For those who explore our community, you'll see that we've invested in our parks. We've built new splash pads. We've invested in a new pavilion at Lakeside Park. We built in Centennial Gardens, the new stairway that's gone down into Centennial Gardens. We've celebrated the 150th anniversary of our country here in our community. We've moved Canada Day to Rennie Park. And so those of you who are tuning in, on July 1st, we're going to be back at Rennie Park in Port Dalhousie. And it's a great opportunity to bring the family out. There's going to be great music, there's going to be family events, and it's an opportunity for us to get together as community. And really, that's what I've tried to show with Our Home with Mayor Sendzik, is the sense of community. How proud I am of where the city is and where we've come from, and also what the future looks like. We've brought people onto the show to talk about how they're building our city, how they've invested in our city, and how they've embraced our city as people who have come here to launch new businesses, to be a part of our growing arts community, to be a part of our academic community at Brock University or Niagara College. Really, what I've hoped you've taken away from this show is that we should be proud of who we are here in St. Catharines. It's an amazing community with a lot of opportunities, and really the future is bright for our city. And hopefully we'll be able to talk more in the future about Our Home with Mayor Sendzik. But today we're going to talk to a few individuals who are doing the investing, who have come to our community to launch new businesses, who are in our community and launching a business. First on the show, we have Mike and Paula Cipollo. And those of you who are on Instagram may have first heard about them through their Hambrgr account, because well before they opened their doors in our community, you were seeing some amazing food popping up. And it was these teasers that they were putting out there that were showcasing what was going to be a new restaurant on St. Paul Street called Hambrgr. And after the break, we have Meghan, who's going to be coming on, Meghan, who's going to be coming on and talking about Stathletes. That is a business that focuses on data, but it's about a business that's designed for the future. And so Meghan's going to be coming on and talking about her journey over the last 4 years in business. And I think that's a great way to wrap up Our Home with Mayor Sendzik, because building communities takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of risk, it takes a lot of entrepreneurial thinking. And a lot of that goes towards individuals who decide that they want to launch a business. And I've been very proud on this show to feature a lot of entrepreneurs, people who are investing in our community, because that's where you really get that economic opportunity. And so, Michael and Paul, I first want to start by saying thank you. Thank you for investing in St. Catharines, and I think thank you for believing that your business could find success here in our city. So tell us a bit about your journey from Hamilton to St. Catharines, about the journey. Start with the journey of Hambrgr, and where did it come from?
Well, that's what we often wonder that sometimes. I mean, Hambrgr, it's funny, it was a goof. It was, we were looking to do something big and grandiose. We were walking down a beautiful little up-and-coming street in Hamilton called King William, which has fast become a kind of restaurant epicenter. And we walk by this little tiny spot and we say, hey, that would be a good little burger beer place. And we're like, what do you think? Should we do this just between, just to get something going, just to do something, just to start understanding the people? Because part of the idea behind our move was from like the big world of working for somebody else to coming into business for ourselves, was really wanting to change how restaurants interact with their staff and with their guests. And I mean, Paula can speak to more of that, because she really is the driving force behind the service side of our business. I mean, they keep me in the back for a reason. I like to be creative and all that, but it was really important us to start understanding. So we just kind of in 4 weeks said, let's just do this burger place. And in 4 weeks we had this place open. And we said, just 35-seat place. How hard can it be? And then the walls blew off the place, and it just went crazy from there. And that's where it started.
Now, your background, tell us a bit about your background, because I know, Mike, you came from the beer market, and that was a growing chain across Canada.
Yeah.
So you have a background in restaurant. Paula, tell us a bit about your background.
I'm a beer market as well.
Oh.
Background more of the financial side and training side of the business. I kind of grew, back then it was Prime Restaurants, and I kind of was training manager there, and then went into the financial aspect of the restaurants.
So you really have that whole dynamic of really the kitchen and the front space. Where
Double threat.
Double threat.
Double threat, yeah.
It is a double threat.
Rare find in the industry, I've been fortunate from a culinary side as a chef to be able to be in a situation where I have somebody such as Paula that's able to do so much on the front side, because often the sides, they don't blend. They have to work together in harmony, but the focuses are just so much on one end or the other, right?
So tell us what makes Hambrgr unique. And you talked about 35-seat, the walls blew off. What is it that's unique about your approach? Because you've clearly blended your experiences in restauranting into something that's taken off. So what makes it unique?
Well, I think the food offering is what it is, excuse me, unique about it. We're big, we have that big wow factor. I also think it's the service, the front end. It's the beer knowledge that we train our staff for, and my motto is treat every guest like they're a guest in your own home. You won't leave my home hungry, so you shouldn't be leaving my restaurants hungry. And that kind of goes from the back to the front, and that's where we, it's a great, we work well together, because Mike has the big, everything has to be big and bold and abundance. And that's where my kind of philosophy is, make sure the staff are knowledgeable, make sure they're treating like you would in your own home. You have to overhost, I say. And if my servers aren't knowledgeable, or if my managers aren't knowledgeable, that's on me. And that's not what I want. And that's what kind of sets us apart, is making sure that everybody's knowledgeable, making sure that my servers know how to respond to a guest when there is a problem, because there is. We're not perfect, but ensuring that that guest is happy and leaves happy.
And I think you did a great job building the excitement of Hambrgr on your social media feed. And where I want to go with this is, you talked about the location in Hamilton and how there was this renaissance of the foodie, the food sector, the foodie movement, I'll call it, was really embedding itself. And you're a part of that. So what did you see in St. Catharines and how did you find St. Catharines? Because you're from the GTA, you're from Toronto, then you went to the Hammer.
Yeah, I'm actually from Seattle originally.
I'm a
West Coast guy with that's
you're
always
Starbucks
getting rained
guy.
on, and the wool socks and Birkenstocks and all that kind of thing. One of the things I think we looked for when we set out to do this, right, was community. We didn't want to be going against what we do now, but we wanted to play a big part in the communities that we're in. So when we started in Hamilton, what drew us there was good community feel, a city that supports itself. When it came time to grow, we needed to find another city that had that kind of that feel, that had that pride in itself, that wanted to support itself, that believed in what it was doing, that believed in its city. St. Catharines was the logical next choice. I mean, the thing I like about where we are in downtown St. Catharines on St. Paul Street is it's all, entrepreneurial spirit. It's all people taking a chance. It's all people like myself, like your other guests on the show, that have a dream. And that's kind of a lot about what all this was about, going way back. It was about people that had a passion or ambition to do something more, So, people go, well, why won't you come to Toronto, or why won't you come to Mrs. It's like, no, because we want to be with these great people in these great cities. Not that they're not great cities, but we want to be in these towns like St. Catharines, because these are people that really are proud. They really care about their city, and that's important for our business, and that's important for our morals.
Right.
So that's why we came.
And I do appreciate that because I think we've been really working on creating that sense of pride in our community.
Absolutely.
And really creating our identity within a growing sort of global marketplace where identity and sense of place are becoming more and more important to attract people, but also to keep people in our community. And I do really appreciate what's happened in Toronto and in Hamilton. I think they've done a wonderful job in recreating that sense of place in Hamilton. And in terms of your approach to St. Catharines, what other opportunities do you see? Like, and you've only been open for better part of maybe 6 months, 7 months?
Not even. 3. We opened in March.
3 months.
March, yeah.
And you're right across, so locationally, for those who are wondering where you are, you're just almost right across from the Performing Arts Center?
Yeah, we see them coming from the corner of the restaurant. Yeah, we can see it right from there. We love it.
And so I maybe don't want to put you on the spot, but what other opportunities do you see for more of an expansion of this sort of food movement?
Well, I think one of the most important things when we talk about the food movement, it really comes down to the people that go out and understanding what a food movement is. Some people will walk into a store and they shop by price. They see a great deal on this or a great deal on that and they buy it. But in a business like us, what we're offering is more. We're offering a connection, right? So yes, we're providing great beer and burgers and service, but we're also supporting a farmer like Beverly Creek, where he's raising cattle for us. Yes. We're supporting an independent brew guy who just opened his first brewery after co-brewing for years. We're employing students that are in that towns or people that live in that city that spend their money there. So I think it's important to understand, to be part of the food movement as a diner or as a guest, it's really important for them to understand and support what the food movement really is, which is investment and entrepreneurship in a town, in a city, in a street. And understand that when you go down to a restaurant on St. Paul Street, or whether you shop at the farmer's market over by City Hall, that you're not just getting something for your fridge or your pantry. You're supporting that city. You're paying for somebody's further investment in your town. All that's going right back into the city, which is why when we saw the boulevards get widened on St. Paul Street while we're under construction, they closed down the street, we're like, this is amazing. Yeah. When we see all the infrastructure improvements, the parking garages, all this stuff go on, even as a young business coming into the city, and we see the amount of service we got from City Hall. I have to give a shout to Rosa Risi, who was huge and instrumental in helping us get where we needed to be. That's all. People that come down and do this and invest their dollars by dining out, that's helping all that be better. Not just that person who's selling you that drink or that plate of food. It's the entire town that benefits, the street, everybody.
I don't think I could have said it any better. Like, that is capturing the food movement and what that means to downtowns like Hamilton and St. Catharines and other places across Canada. It is about creating that sense of place and how the dollars go back into it. Paula and Mike, I can't say enough. You've taken a great opportunity here in our community. You've turned it into something that is now a destination, and I know you've got other projects coming forward. And we'll be looking forward to seeing that. And for those who are out and about in our community, please take the time to check out Hambrgr. Take the time to come out. Do you need to make reservations, or is it walk-up only?
It's walk-in only. So
walk-in only, which is, for our community, the walk-in only means you don't phone and ask for a reservation. You got to show up. And if you show up and it's full and there's a lineup, you wait. And if not, you walk next door and you have a drink at another restaurant and come back, and that's what you get in Montreal. That's what you get in Ottawa. That's what you get in Toronto.
Meet some people on the street. Get out, enjoy it. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to some new residents. And another thing to add on there, you can also enjoy that great patio program that just launched this year in the city, which has been
great,
amazing down there. We love it.
So come on out through the summertime to downtown St. Catharines. You will not be disappointed. Paula and Mike, thank you very much for your investment into our community.
Absolutely.
And we look forward to seeing you. And also follow them on Instagram, and you will be hungry every time a picture pops up, I guarantee it. So come back after the break, and we're going to be talking with another young entrepreneur in our community who has a growing business that you will be very impressed with. Stay tuned. Hi, and welcome back to Our Home with Mayor Sendzik. And I know you're hungry from watching before the break about Hambrgr in our downtown and what Mike and Paula are doing. And so this side of the break, we're going to be talking about a company that is in what would be the statistics and data mining part of the business, and launched 10 years ago. Stathletes is a local business, and I'm joined by Meghan Chika. See, I knew I was going to get it wrong. It's and those who watch the show know that I struggle with names, but Meghan is here, and she's the founder of Stathletes, and it's an interesting company, Meghan, in terms of it is definitely a company that got into what would be statistics and the use of statistics at the right time. And you're a native of Niagara, born in Jordan, and also very athletic, from an athletic family. So tell us a bit about your background, and then we're going to head into the company that you founded.
For sure. So I played sports my whole life, including going to Beansville District Secondary School, as well as in St. Catharines, so always very involved in the region in that sense. Went to school at McMaster first, then Brock, then out east at UNB for a bit. Always focused on the quant side. Never really thought...
So quant means what? Because a lot of listeners aren't going to know. We're going to be talking about some language they may not know.
So stats, math,
Okay.
Economics, finance, that was always sort of my focus, which sort of brought me into the data world. But thought, I'm going to do a traditional career, so finance, consulting. Never really thought you could do that much with a passion like sports. And the opportunity kind of presented itself. At that time, my brother got hurt playing hockey out east, playing junior hockey, and I was helping some trainers, came up with some models to quantify hockey, and it sort of went from there.
So how did your experience at Brock, so you've launched a business. Tell us how you made the connection between that kind of formulaic approach to numbers and then your experience at Brock.
For sure. Well, Brock, as you know, is really strong in sports. I mean, their sports management program has sort of had, such like Andrew Tinish, who's now the AGM at the Blue Jays, Kyle Dubas, who's now the GM at the Leafs, all have come from that program.
Yep.
So being surrounded by such a sport-focused group, and then marrying it with entrepreneurship. So they had some pitch competitions. I actually won in a first one when I was in maybe second or third year in undergrad. Completely off the map, baby bottle pitch. But just like that idea of starting, the pitches early and learning about entrepreneurship and starting a business really helped in the stages when I actually needed to be very refined.
Right.
So just drawing inspiration from all the professors. I was both in economics and in business at the time, so both faculties kind of helped different sides of my learning curve, and just applied that to our company, Stathletes.
And I think it's important for a lot of the viewers to learn more about where this is a great example of how Brock is connected to our economy, where you have people like yourself that are there, you're exploring new ideas, you clearly have an entrepreneurial edge to you, and they created the space that allowed you to stretch yourself and reach for some of those ideas that you have. And out of that comes a business.
Absolutely. And I think one thing to mention too is how great the type of students are there. And same with Niagara College. I mean, there's some really good programs, and students come from all over Canada, if not the world, to these institutions. So we've hired a lot within our business as well, and keeping them in Niagara with highly trained, great skill set, I think is really important for the growth of our region too.
And so now I know people are watching and going, okay, you're a young entrepreneur, you've established a business. What is the business?
So we mainly collect data, but we also do all sorts of visualizations and other type of software products. And we do this by automating a lot of the collection process. Our main clients are in the NHL, but we also do other leagues, and especially in like the CHL, which is a very big junior hockey league in Canada, NCAA, which, as you know, has a lot of money as well and great programs. So there's a wide variety of uses, such as fantasy, even into gambling, that you can use our data. So there's a lot of markets we can chase, and we don't have to be in a big, like a Toronto or New York. Right. We can do that out of St. Catharines.
Well, and that's, okay, we're going to touch on, because I think that is a great aspect of the growth of your company and the affordability of growing your company here in St. Catharines. But And it's for those who have watched the movie Moneyball or read the book. I didn't read the book. I watched the movie, starring Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill, as you pointed out. And that's what your business is.
For sure. And it's about leveraging data to make better decisions. And I don't just think the revolution has happened in sports, it's all businesses.
And so what you've done though, so for a viewer at home crystallizing this, the reason why it's called Stathletes is that statistics, you're creating this or using the statistics to better inform about the performance of the athletes?
Absolutely. So whether it's for performance or even, like I said, for your daily fantasy that millions of people play in North America.
Would it be fantasy NHL or
Sure.
fantasy football?
It could be anything. I mean, for us, we have the best data set in the NHL and hockey.
That's amazing.
But yeah, you could apply it on all sorts of levels.
So how many employees is required to do this kind of data mining and statistical analysis and everything that goes along with it?
So we have about a core of 20 to 25, and then we have some part-timers that go up to 80
Okay.
on our busiest time.
So is that when the season's in play?
Absolutely. So we try to do hockey games as fast as possible in near real time.
So explain what that means you're trying to do. So for a viewer watching the game, and
Right.
because I'm stunned sometimes, you're watching and all of a sudden some guy goes, he got that goal back on this date, and I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah, it could have come from us for sure. Actually, one of our biggest wins, and we haven't really talked about it too much, is we got a contract to do the Olympics in Pyeongchang. So I was actually over there. And one of the biggest reasons I wanted to do that was to do women's hockey in a meaningful way. So I created dashboards which were about a 10-second delay on certain metrics. And you could watch it as a second screen. You could watch it, let's say, if you have a fantasy league or if you're gambling. Just provides more feedback and education on the game.
So was that on the CBC online platform, or was that?
It was actually behind the scenes for the broadcasters, but in
so
theory
they
it
could
could have
pull.
gone live.
So for the viewers watching, the broadcaster will see that separate screen, and they'll have information on the players and.
Absolutely. Or if they just want to make a comparison too, I mean, when you're talking about that last Canada-US game, they just played, days before. So what that matchup looked like, what they had to do to actually win. It went to overtime. So
how do you pull that data out? So give us an example of how are you aggregating, and how do you do that?
So we collect the data at the finest level, and then it can be rolled up into any sort of analysis. So whatever type of model you want to make, whether it's the probability of someone scoring or face-off percentages, we have all that data.
So is it your team capturing how many times the person won the face-off, how many shots they took in a game, what was their ice time, how long they were on the ice? Is it your team that's capturing that, or is that the team capturing it and they send it to you?
No, we capture all of our own data points. So that's put into our database. We automate it. We make it as fast as possible, as accurate as possible. So we're very about making sure the data is correct, which is a really big deal in any sort of analysis. And then we ship it.
So when you say data points, because I think this is fascinating for a lot of people, because my parents, all they do is watch sports. That's all they do, and my mom loves to look at the statistics of who's done what. Right. So data points, if the Las Vegas Knights and the Washington Capitals are playing, how do you set that up from your staff's perspective? Do they follow players during the game?
No, so we have a second screen application that we've built. It's a software application that has some automation and AI behind it that will speed up the process. But yeah, every data point is tagged to exact video timestamp, so we can recall it as well. Probably the easiest example for viewers would be in baseball, just because it is so static. So for example, when someone swings a bat, they know exactly the exit rate velocity, they know what type of pitch they were throwing, they know at what time it was, they know how long it took the pitcher to set up. So all of that data set would be put into a database that's accessed by not only Major League Baseball, but also the people on staff, media, fantasy, as I said. So it's very similar to other sports structures.
And so the reason why this is, I'm wondering about this. The reason why this is a valuable commodity is because it allows teams to also get the most performance out of their players, or is it designed for the draft headline? Like when someone does a draft, where is this most used?
I wouldn't say that there's one use case, but I would definitely point to that, more information is power, and the more you can leverage that for better decisions. I mean, these are multi-million-dollar deals for players, especially when you're drafting a player. Right. If you find players deep in a draft that end up being superstars, that can differentiate your team from being a Stanley Cup winner and not.
Tom Brady.
Exactly.
Tom Brady, just saying.
Absolutely.
I don't know where that came from.
So,
but that's a great example of someone deep in the draft. That
absolutely, someone who the draft was that he can't lead his team and he had a weak arm or whatever it is. So if you look at finder metrics and kind of have tracked what he did, maybe you would have been like the New England Patriots and saw things that other teams overlooked.
Amazing. So that's applicable to all sports.
Absolutely.
So what's the future of Stathletes? And I'm hoping this future is in St. Catharines. I know it's a homegrown company. I know its future's here, but where do you see the growth of your company going? You're a young entrepreneur. What's your vision for the future of your company?
Yeah, I think expanding a bit more into other sports and going more into the fantasy side as well. So building different software tools on top of the data we already collect. And also just making the automation process better. So as technology gets cheaper and better, I mean, I do a lot of work too at U of T. So some of the professors there are at the top of AI in the world.
Okay, so AI for the listeners.
Artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence, and you're going to see a lot more of that. And when we look at shifts in the economy, artificial intelligence is really the next wave of, we went from robotics and automation to now AI. And so it's great to see a local company that is very much on the leading edge of how AI can help grow your company. I like that.
For sure. And I'm actually partnering right now with Brock as well as U of T. They're working on a research project for our company. So there's lots of ways to leverage different parts of Southern Ontario.
Okay, so now we've got the examples of Brock, the connectivity of the foundation of your company comes out of our academic community, and you're a product of Brock University, which I'm very proud of, and homegrown talent. Whether you're from Jordan or Beamsville or Niagara Falls or Fort Erie or Waynfleet, you're homegrown talent. You're in our community. And so for the listeners, for the viewers at home, Meghan and her team really have done a wonderful job of building a company. Meghan, sorry, and they've built a wonderful company, and I think Meghan is the future of what companies are going to be like in St. Catharines, Niagara. It's going to be about utilizing technology. It's going to be about where technology is taking us and utilizing, as you said, creating that commodity around data. And so proud that you're here in our community, and I'm proud of all the work that you've done to build your company. So best wishes. And for those who have tuned in to our home with Mayor Sendzik for the last 3 years, I want to say thank you for tuning in. And I hope you really have gained a better knowledge of our city and all parts of it, from young entrepreneurs like Meghan, and to those who have been investing in our community for many, many years, and the artistic side of our community, the cultural side of our community, the environmental side of our community, all the things that go into building a strong city. And I really believe that the future is bright for St. Catharines. So I look forward to being a part of our home, no matter where it is, but our home STC in the future. And I look forward to seeing you in the fall. I will be out and about, crisscrossing our community, hoping to have conversations with many people talking about what the future of St. Catharines looks like. So I want to thank Cogeco, your home, your TV, for being a part of this. I want to thank the crew for all the great work that they've put into making this, our home with Mayor Sendzik, a great success. This doesn't happen just by one person sitting on a couch in a chair. It happens with a lot of people behind the control board, and I want to thank my staff for making sure that I have the information in front of me to ask great questions. So until next time, until I see you out and about, I hope you have a wonderful summer, and take care.